Hey guys, today I went to a antique store, local antique store that I check out once in a while. They don't have a lot of video game stuff. I mean, it's mostly old antiques like 40s, 50s, and 60s. They got odd stuff from the 80s scattered around. Not a lot of video game stuff at all. So it was really, really weird that I found what I found today, and it was kind of great. The first thing I found, almost right when I walked in, was virtual racing for the Sega Genesis. And the weird thing is that not a day or two ago, I was thinking to myself that I really wanted to get a copy of this game because of the unique hardware in this game. I'll review this game later, by the way. But I was thinking that it would be good to find this game, but I was also telling myself I probably never will because it's probably a pretty rare Genesis game. And lo and behold, it was the first thing I saw when I walked into this antique store today. $2.50, by the way. $2.50, so hopefully it works. That's pretty freaking awesome. And then the other thing I found, also kind of out of the blue, because it was mixed in this one booth that was all like clothes from like the 1920s, and like an old bed that looked like it was from like 1910. And sitting on the bed in a bag was this Game Gear. The Game Gear came in a Ziploc bag with a power adapter and 3 games. There was Ren and Snippy in the actual Game Gear. I got Sonic the Hedgehog and Columns, which is a puzzle game, kind of like Tetris. I think it might have came with the Game Gear at one point or another, but I haven't played that, so I'll have to find out. I'm going to do a review of the Game Gear itself, just a quick little overview since I got it. The Game Gear came out in 1990. And it was Sega's competition for Nintendo's Game Boy, which I believe came out a year before, 1989. I guess I'll have to admit, technically, this system was superior. For starters, it had a color screen. It was a fairly big screen. It was definitely bigger than the Game Boy screen. I'm not sure the size, but it's definitely a noticeable size difference in the screen. And its color, it's backlit, so I mean, in 1990, a backlit LCD color screen probably wasn't too cheap. So the system was expensive. I think it was about $150 when this came out, and the Game Boy was like $89.99. So it was a little bit more expensive than the Game Boy. Also a bit bigger. As you can see, I hold it horizontally instead of vertically. But it's pretty big, which really I don't care. I mean, you can't put it in your pocket, but you can still carry it around with you. The biggest downfall with this system was the battery life. It took 6 AA's, 3 in each side, and you only get like an hour of, serious play out of 6 AA batteries, which is kind of pathetic and expensive to run. So a lot of people got the power adapters. I had one of these when I was younger, and I had the battery pack that you screwed onto the back. One thing I always wanted for this was the TV tuner. They did release a TV tuner for this that you could watch TV on it, which was pretty cool, but it was hard to find after the Game Gear kind of started to fade away. The TV tuners were impossible to find in the stores when you could still buy games for it. So anyways, the system itself is essentially a Sega Master System. As far as the hardware goes and the game programming goes, these essentially Sega Master System games. All of the sound processing of the graphic, or the CPU, everything's pretty much identical, just in portable form. The main difference is the screen resolution isn't quite as high, just because the screen's obviously a lot smaller. And let's see what else. Oh, there's a higher color palette on the Sega Game Gear. I'm not sure how many colors are on screen or what the specs are, but it is higher than the Sega Master System. Also, this could do stereo sound, and the Sega Master System couldn't, but obviously that would be with use of headphones, as there's only one speaker on the front. The button layout's pretty much Nintendo style. You got a D-pad and 2 buttons, an A and a B, or Sega Master System style, I guess I should say, and your start button. On the top you have the red power switch. You have the power adapter here for using the power adapter. Your cartridge slot here, obviously. There's an extension port here. I'm not exactly sure. I would imagine that's for linking up multiple Game Gears. I don't know if any Game Gear games ended up supporting that. I would imagine that some did, but I know with the Game Boy, that was a really popular feature, was you could link up multiple Game Boys. And you got your headphone jack and your volume jack. So I'll show you a game, assuming that this thing works. I haven't tested it yet. I forgot to mention the best part, by the way. The price that I paid for the Game Gear. $12 in that bag with 3 games. So I got the Virtual Racing for $2.50. Got the receipt right here. It says Virtual Game $2.50, and it says Retro East Sega Game System $12. So I walked out of there with taxes for $16.39. So I mean, I was happy enough to find a Game Gear. So anyways, let's see how this video turns out. I know it's kind of hard to capture these screens. They're not the best LCDs, I mean, given the time. I'll try and get it for you. I'm hoping if I don't press start, we'll get a little... Oh, what the hell is this? Little preview of the game. I don't actually have to play it while trying to hold it. Here we go. The screen, you know, I couldn't complain back in 1990 when I was a kid. But I mean, truth be told, it did get a little blurry when stuff moved. But then again, so did the Game Boy screen. The original brick Game Boy screen got really blurry when stuff moved. The screen, once you get the right viewing angle and you get the brightness set right, it's not too bad. Unless you're outside. And that's where the Game Boy kind of owned this thing. If you're inside or in the dark in your bedroom at night, then the Game Gear screen was awesome, but when you're outside in the sun, you couldn't see it at all. Whereas the Game Boy screen, outside in the sun is where it thrived. I mean, the more light, the better. So, you know, I had a Game Boy. This is what my grandma bought me when it came out. This I got one of these in like 1994, 1993, 1994. I mean, it was pretty much dead, and only like some stores still had games left for it. That's when I picked one up. And I mean, even though it was dead and there wasn't many games you could still get for it, I had Mortal Kombat 2, I had Sonic and Sonic 2, and Mortal Kombat 2 is actually surprisingly good on that thing. I thought so anyway. And what was the other game I had? Some role-playing kind of game where you went from town to town, and it was like a strategy role-playing game, like Final Fantasy Tactics. And you just went from town to town and went through the storyline, but then you'd get into the battles, and you'd move your guys. You could only move your guys so many spaces at one move, and then you could attack. It's like Shining Force or something. I'm not that hardcore of an RPG guy, so I don't know the RPGs. But it was alright, I guess. I played it because I had it, and that was the only reason why. So anyways, antique stores rule. I mean, shit, $12 for that Game Gear with the games and the plug, and fucking $2.50 for Virtual Racing, which I'm going to show you as soon as I freaking figure out how to get my Genesis working on the TV tuner. See it.